if a man says, all women want from me is money, you gotta run. He wants your soul, your body, your time, and your energy. Someone who cooks and cleans for him. And let's be real, he's exactly the type of man that will ask, what do you bring to the table? While his life is in a mess, his finances are not in order, and his emotions are all over the place. Don't be surprised that he's just looking for a roommate with benefits to split the bills. Let's get right into it. The first sign that he's a dusty is the type of man that say, I go with the flow instead of making actual plans. This is a man who doesn't know what he wants. He may be a high achiever in his career, but when it comes to dating, he is extremely fickle-minded. Very often, a man like this struggles to make simple decisions, such as asking you out a week in advance to lock in the date and making dinner reservations online. Let's be honest, it's either he's lazy or he's trying his luck by testing your boundaries, just to see if you are someone that can accept less than bare minimum. Look, it may not be very obvious, but he will often say things like, I am very spontaneous, or let's just go with the flow. If the restaurant isn't available by the time you arrive, he will have no other choice but to suggest other restaurants around the area. Trust me, when I was in my early 20s, I used to think that it's not a big deal, but it's actually a sign of disrespect. He doesn't respect your time, because if he does, he would make the effort to secure a reservation. On top of that, he will be very flaky and cancel dates at the last minute because that's just the way he is. Due to his spontaneous nature, he has no routine and his personal life is a mess. By the way, it's incredibly rude to cancel plans at the last minute without following up. As you get to know him better, you'll also realize that he has no clear specific goals that he's working towards to improve himself. Here's what nobody tells you about. He may be very accomplished in his career, but lack progress in his personal life. What I mean by that is, he may look very successful on the outside, but feels empty and heavy on the inside. It shows in his unhealthy habits and lifestyle. For instance, smoking or drinking excessively every other day, poor eating habits and sleep cycles, and let's forget about him working out at the gym because it's never in the cards for him. His lack of discipline, purpose, and direction is a major sign of instability. Besides that, his indecisiveness and inconsistency just means that he's not in his healthy masculine energy. Let's be real, if he lacks money, he will take it from you. If he lacks confidence, he will take it from you. If he lacks purpose, he will take it from you. The second sign that he's a dusty is the type of man who is a compulsive complainer. Trust me, men who complain all day and do nothing about it are such a turnoff because he can't even get his shit together to solve his own problems. He doesn't have the capacity to give you anything when he's running on empty. The worst is, he will get easily offended if you hold him accountable by asking, have you found a solution? He will also justify his laziness and bad behavior by finding fault with everything. For any minor or major inconvenience, he will always place the blame onto someone or something else. It can be his toxic boss who refused to give him a promotion at work, the erratic weather that caused him to be an hour late for his appointment, his absent mother who was never there for him, so it triggers his constant need for validation and ends up cheating on you. Over time, you'll realize that the blame was never on him. Think about it. What is he going to do when there's an actual problem in the relationship? Complain all day and push the blame on you? I may probably get a lot of hate for saying this, but the third sign that he's a dusty is the type of man who loves to do low investment dates like coffee or Netflix and chill. Let me translate it for you. Basically, he's saying, I hope you're okay with my bare minimum. And let's be honest, that's below bare minimum. Some of you are fine with this arrangement because you don't want to owe him anything. And I get it. You may feel obligated to stay for dinner if you don't like him, so it's easier to meet for coffee and get it over and done with. But the main question is, why should you feel obligated to a stranger just because he treats you for dinner? Look, being courteous is one thing, but if someone makes you feel bad for leaving early because you feel unsafe or unappreciated, that person is definitely not for you, and you have every right to leave. Hear me out. How long do you take to get ready for a date? I believe that most of us take at least an hour to get ready, while some of us take longer than that. And how much money do you spend on clothes and makeup for a date? Probably at least $100, but if I'm being honest, it costs way more than that. That's the investment you're putting into yourself, so why should you accept a 30 minutes coffee chat like a casual job interview? I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, are you coming from a place of scarcity or are you doing this out of trauma bond? Here's the part that gets twisted. It's not that you can't afford coffee, but it's the intention behind this. Look, a man should be trying to impress you on the first few dates. Let's be real, if a man is suggesting coffee as a first date, it's usually because it's low cost, low effort, and extremely convenient for him. He's managing your expectations by letting you know that this date is as casual as it can be. He doesn't care how much effort you put into getting ready for the date, so you shouldn't be expecting much from your second or third date with him because his effort will always be at the coffee date level, if you know what I mean. Just a disclaimer, I'm not saying that this applies to all men, but I can say for most men because I grew up with male friends and I've seen how they treat women based on their level of interest. Most of the time, they love to test your boundaries before the first date. If they are invested in you in some way, perhaps they're attracted to you physically, they are more likely to ask you out for dinner instead of coffee because they want to impress you. All I can say is, never confuse someone's desire to be in a relationship with their capacity to love you the way you deserve. The truth is, everyone wants a partner, but not everyone is capable of being one. The fourth sign that he is a dusty is, he expects you to be independent and take care of yourself because he doesn't want you to demand anything from him. If you encounter any difficulties, he expects you to find a solution instead of relying on him as he believes in feminism, so you're supposed to solve everything on your own. If you ever ask him for help, he will look for excuses to say that he's busy and disappear by delaying his replies on purpose. Sounds familiar? Honestly, if he really likes you, he would never do that. Look, I believe most women are very independent when they are single, but if a man wants to date you seriously, he has to add some value into your life. Otherwise, you might as well be single. I can assure you that a Dusty's biggest nightmare is a woman who relies on him. Think about it. If a woman actually relies on you to handle problems, it means that she trusts in your ability to get it done, and most importantly, you make her feel safe that she is no longer operating in survival mode. However, a Dusty will make you feel like a burden for asking, and he also finds it a hassle to help you because it requires too much effort on his end. Like I said, he's only interested in doing things that benefit him. At this point, he's just being selfish, and that can only mean one thing. He doesn't love you as much as you think. And here comes the best part. A man who loves to be chased and desired by many women is an insecure boy in his feminine energy. Honestly, I feel so sorry for anyone that have been with a man who say things like, a lot of women are after me. Like, can we have a moment of silence? That's so embarrassing. It's the least attractive thing a man can say. What are you trying to prove? The more you try to brag about something, the more insecure you sound. On top of that, they will also say things like, I was waiting for you to text me or call me. Do you see how passive and feminine that is? Basically, they want to be like women, so they should be looking for men themselves. Let's be honest, at the end of the day, he's perfectly fine with where he's at because he's just not willing to step up for you. The truth is, you are not his dream woman. Let's say that he gets a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to date Jennie from Blackpink. Do you really think he will split the bills with her or wait for her to text him or call him? Based on my personal experiences, a real provider will solve most of your issues without you asking for it. He gets things done at lightning speed, and you can feel that there is always a sense of urgency when it comes to fulfilling your needs, because you will always be his top priority. For those of you who have never been with provider men, you may think that it's out of reach or it's just a fantasy, but it really isn't. Trust me, stop compromising on things you really want and start believing that you are deserving of it. If you think about it, it's basically the same as when a man truly wants you, all you have to do is exist. He shows up for you every day and is obsessed with you in a healthy way. Most importantly, he doesn't expect you to contribute financially because he's very stable on his own, and he shows you that he is ready for commitment based on his consistent effort. The last sign that he is a dusty is he is financially irresponsible. Basically, he displays a lack of financial contribution or reluctance to work. He will avoid having discussions about his finances and become very defensive if you bring it up, especially when he has a long history of unemployment. A great example would be Landon, the wizard list baby daddy, who has been extorting her for money using their child. Apparently, he has been unemployed for a year now, playing video games every day while she has been paying for all the bills and necessities. Honestly, I don't think I need to say more because clearly you have to understand that it is not our responsibility to teach boys to behave like real men. If he can't get his shit together, don't bother trying to fix him. You're not obligated to fix someone else's son. Have you noticed that women who don't tolerate disrespect, lies, and manipulation are often labeled as difficult, crazy, and complicated? Let's be real, a dusty is the most manipulative. He's so good at giving empty promises, making you feel like he's the one when he's just leading you on the whole time. But if you really think about it, his only power is his words. Because talk is cheap, it doesn't cost him anything. Speaking of that, it reminded me of the time I used to go out with a man who talked about marriage on the first date, asking me what type of ring I was looking for, how many carats I want, where I would like to host my wedding party, and so on. You may be thinking, wow, how romantic it is for a man to bring up marriage on the first date. But no, he was trying to fool me into thinking that he wants a commitment. Thank God it didn't take long for me to notice that his words fail to match his actions. Let's be real, men who look at women as objects are predatory, and men who seek women for resources are predatory. If he ever asks, what do you bring to the table, he's looking at the potential benefits he can gain from you. He's trying to see how much you can help to pay the bills once you move in with him. If you're looking for a provider, you should never sign up to be his roommate with benefits since day one. Splitting 50-50 for rent, mortgage, bills, and groceries is what roommates do. Don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for financial dependency on a man. In fact, women should always maintain financial independence by having an investment portfolio and a side hustle that generates income, so you can leave a relationship with dignity if he ever betrays you. At the end of the day, a dusty will always make you feel like you're asking for too much when you're only asking for basic decency to be treated right. Thank you for watching and click to subscribe if you enjoy my content.